The Lincolnshire Move project presents Smoke and Mirrors, written by the Yellow Belly Writing Group. Part 1.
Centuries of war and invasion, dragon fire and giant attack has left the land divided into many kingdoms and territories. In the Twilight Domain, on the edge of the notorious homeless quagmire, sits a once disused stone shepherd's hut, ingeniously transformed by an eclectic mix of necessity, luck, stolen goods and borrowed artifacts. Now home to Maisie and her somewhat trying son, Fleetfoot. Corn Hazy Cottage, a self-contained patch complete with vegetable plots, outbuildings and a rather interesting collection of pepper scarlet bamboo and chiga lettuce, which, coincidentally, find a great quantity of their cuttings bubbling on the stove.
Good morrow, Mother. I've nicked you a prezzy.
What is it this time? Because I'm telling you, Hubert, if it's anything like the cursed wand of Hangor, I'd rather you hadn't. Weeks it took us to get rid of those bloody gnolls.
They did a good job of digging the garden.
They ate half of it.
They recycled it.
And it stank, like enough to stun a horse.
You did get it back, though, just a bit digested.
I'll admit, spuds and cabbages are growing better. Dunno whether they're edible, though. Anyway, what you nicked for me this time?
It's the emerald of the hidden god of Starge. Here, be careful, it glows.
It's green.
It's an emerald.
No dresses I got go with green.
You could sell the emerald, buy 100 green dresses. Oh, wait. Sorry, Mum.
Can you get a refund?
I stole it, Mum.
Well, there's your out-of-pocket expenses. You bought those sheep to placate the tribble-headed guardian, didn't you?
I bought the poison as well. Not placate, so much as kill with poisoned sheep. All three heads were asleep anyway. I just snuck past them.
Invisibility potions. They're expensive.
Well, there was the basilisk eye where I needed that potion, and the map for the back way out cost me a bit. Invisibility was useful because, well, they're a bit sensitive about unbelievers in their temple. You know how they are, they're touchy if heathens try to steal the embodiment of their god.
Well, you should go ask them anyway. Can't hurt to ask.
Look, Mum, I'm not going to get a refund from a temple full of religious nutters whose most cherished icon I've just nicked. I won it by stealth and craft. If I turn up barefaced with the article of their faith and say, sorry, it's the wrong colour, I'll be dead as something that's been killed.
By the edge of the Emerald Creek, deep within the depths of the forest of the wretched wilds, sits Sybil Soothsayer. She is of the Dark Fae, a fallen angel, illusionist, honeymaker, and secret bounty hunter. A master manipulator who weaves glamours to make the ordinary seem very special. Sybil is of ravishing beauty, with pale skin of earthy tones like a calico cat, interspersed with vibrant colours from pale pink to gold to crimson and dark purple. She is autumn personified. Joining Sybil is her much-loved pet Omen, a magical wolf-like dark green dog known as a coin sith.
Omen, I love this time of night. It contains everything I love most in the world. The forest, the moonlight, myself, and you. It is the witching hour, when the barrier between the physical realm and the spiritual realm is the thinnest, and the time I can see much of what the future holds. Come, sit with me, Omen, under my sycamore tree, where the souls of the deceased find blissful repose. Listen, my friend. Listen to the rustle of the wreaths and ribbons, the rags and the bones that I have hung upon it in honour of the spirits that reside here. See how beautiful they look in the light of the forest moon. Oh, it calms my soul and rests my never-still mind. Let me lay my head on the mossy ground and let nature envelop me. Omen, can you hear it? The whisperings from the network of the mycorrhizal fungi that runs under the ground through the roots of the trees. It is through this intricate network the trees talk to each other. Did you hear that, Omen? The name they speak of is Melchior Corellan. Shh, listen! And what is this, they say? He is offering a bounty and will appear to all who desire it in the Great Hall of Elvengard. Come, Omen, we need to prepare ourselves for a journey to Elvengard.
Having successfully navigated their way through the rare plumbuds, knight-errant Sir Gaspar Balliol and his squire Ewain have found themselves at the crossover to Willingford Covert. Here, trees groan, branches snap beneath, and above them the assassin flax undergrowth hungrily grapples and tears at the horses' hooves. It is said that the lost souls of bitter clover orcs relentlessly hang in the air, unspeaking yet deafening, ready to torment anyone who passes. The heavy mist, entangled with a damp aroma and stench of desperation, envelops the travellers and threatens to eat away at both their conscience and their senses.
Was there really no other way to get there other than to go through these woods, sir?
If we'd taken the other road, then we wouldn't have reached Elvengard until night.
It might just as well be night now. I can barely even see you, it's so dark. I swear, these elves make their roads go through places like this, just to trick foreigners into going to their doom.
Wayne, do you imagine I know not what I'm doing? I've been through these woods before, and I assure you there is very little here that could pose a threat to us.
Ah. Now, there I noticed the use of the word little instead of nothing.
And to think, one of these days you shall become a knight too.
Speaking personally, I'd just like to make sure that day arrives, instead of still having to shine armour in the afterlife.
Silence! That's quite enough of that sort of talk. If you really do wish to see that day, then I'd advise you refrain from flippant remarks about the supernatural in our present location.
I thought you said there was no danger.
That was before some callow fool loosed his tongue upon matters that he shouldn't have. Now be quiet.
Forgive me, Sir Gaspar. It's probably just the forest that's got me all on edge. Even you seem far from your usual self in this place. Is something on your mind, sir?
Quiet.
What is it?
Shh. Leshy.
What is that thing?
Leshy. A forest spirit.
It's pretty big. Are they dangerous?
Not usually, but I prefer to avoid tangling with it.
It's coming over.
Ready yourself.
Though tangled webs spun, a hollow victory won, sins of all the whole.
By the old gods! What was that?
You mean apart from bad poetry?
Oh, now who's being flippant?
Let's make haste.
Did that thing try to warn us of something?
I've never heard of a prophetical leshy. You come to think of it, I've never heard of one that recited poetry, but my guess is that it's trying to frighten us off its territory. I reckon we should leave as soon as possible before it tries something more desperate. Don't you?
Say no more, sir. Lead on.
In the far and distant kingdom of Madamanthus, on its eastern shores, nestled within towering cliffs, is the coastal town known as Phlegon. In a dimly lit attic room in a dingy tavern, Prunella Thornheart sits at a table in the corner, a single candle illuminating her open diary. She dips her quill into ink as black as night and starts to write.
The 11th day of autumntide in the year of the Manticore. Dear Diary, today has suddenly taken an unexpected turn. Little did I know, when I was rudely awoken this morning by the sound of seagulls and squidhawks, that I'd find myself packing and setting off on a journey to Vespertilia by midday. I didn't sleep well, again. A third night of tossing and turning in my flea-infested bed, with a chorus of rusty springs groaning in my mattress at the slightest movement. Damn these seaside taverns, cheap but definitely not cheerful. Dodgy innkeepers with no pride, in it for a quick groat and nothing more. Anyway, it wasn't long before I'd managed to haul myself out of bed and trudge downstairs. My stomach was rumbling, and I'll say one thing for the gay sailor, Mistress Sourcrumb does a bloody good breakfast. I sat at an empty table and beckoned her over. She hobbled towards me. With boils, open sores, and the odd wart, I wouldn't describe Mistress Sourcrumb as the most hygienic of specimens, but she's friendly enough and doesn't put you off your food too much as long as she doesn't show her teeth when she smiles. I ordered kippers and milk and honey as usual, and sat back to contemplate my plans for the day. It was then I tuned into a whispered conversation between the occupants of the table to the left of mine. A dwarf with a greying beard and large, misshapen nose was talking to an ugly-looking, much scarred individual I took to be a half-orc. They were talking about a bounty, so, as you can imagine, my ears soon pricked up. The general gist was that the King of Elvengard was offering a hefty sum of money for a yet unspecified mission, and those inclined should register their interest at his castle in 12 days' time. So, I ate my kippers, packed without delay, and now I must set off with haste on my next little adventure.
Half a league from the outskirts of Phlegon lies a small copse of trees which shelter a ramshackle wooden hut, home to the isolated female dwarf known simply as Raikon. Here she lives hidden and misunderstood from all. Pets are our only source of company, and these are driven initially from need of protection, but manage to thaw her reserved heart to become friends. She rests wearily against the companion known as Boy, and warms herself by the roaring campfire, which dispels the encroaching mist. She bites hungrily into the rare flesh of a deer leg, blood covering her mouth like an old tart's aged gloss.
There we go, Boy. That's the skinning and gutting done for the day. Come here and let me rest against you for a wee bit. Good job you're so big, eh? Mind you, It's no difficult to tower over this here dwarf. Can you still hear them pesky seagulls and squidhawks in Phlegon, boy? Imagine what it would be like if we weren't on our own sheltered grove. You're the talk of the town every time you have to go in for business or supplies. The locals know full well not to ask what you are, but new folk don't know any better. They always think you're some mutated wolf. Of course, I can't answer. I have no clue. Remember when we first met, boy? I always wondered how that army that ravished my village got a hold of you. I now know you weren't a willing participant in their hell they must have spread across this land. If it wasn't for my parents' last-ditch attempt shoving me out the back of our tent to save me as a littling, I wouldn't have found you injured on the edge of the woods. It's a good job the army left you for dead, as we wouldn't have met. You were so angry with me at the time, but I came to you anyway. I tended your wounds. Yes, boy, it was very messy, but don't forget, I was just a wee one back then. Anyway, you survived, didn't you? I may have lost my family and village that night, but I found you. No the worst exchange ever. Well, saying that, when you had to hunt for our food in the early days, you didn't quite grasp our different palates and nutritional requirements, eh? How you doing up there, girl? I remember when I rescued you as a little terrier pup from that fisherman in Phlegon. I had to kindly make him take my coin for you. I wasn't going to stand by and watch him beat you. Now look at us. Got to be the most efficient team in the land. I'm the brains, boy's the muscle, and girl, you jump down from your home on boy's back to squeeze into those hard-to-reach places. What? I've got brains. What are you grumbling at, boy? Oh, a carrier pigeon. I wonder who we've got this time. Looks a tad nervous. I wonder why, boy. Off you go, girl. Fetch. Get me that message off the wee thing before it has a heart attack. Be nice. That took the bounce out of her stride, eh, boy? Thanks, girl. Up you go. Oh, that's odd. There's no name, just an instruction to meet at the Great Hall of Elvengard Castle. This must be of the utmost importance. Great Hall, eh, boy? Best get you looking smart.
Nestled within the intimidating charmed slopes of the Eighth Kingdom, a small magical woodland known as the Forbidden Bluff is home to a great many mysterious creatures and a kindly fellow named Elton Llewald. Elton's thatched cottage, wrapped in a poetic blend of mossy-cupped maize, bristly watercress and Queen's cardamom, sits perfectly on the edge of a soft, flowing stream. The seedlings of these now well-established plants and herbs were gifted to him by his old friend and teacher, Bellatrix Troy. Inside, Elton skillfully steers his way around the wobbly towers of books on the topic of dragonology, strewn throughout the cottage, and questionably mixed with numerous pairs of underpants. He is readying himself for his first solo mission.
Well, I've got to go. How else will I ever find out what's happened to Kevlar? And whether I'm the new Dragon Whisperer? It's going to be dangerous. Very dangerous. Am I ready? What would Kevlar say? Get a grip, Elton! That's what he'd say. Get your ass moving and put into practice all the things that I taught you. That's what he'd say. Oh, but the egos. The huge, all-consuming egos. Give me a dragon any day, rather than mix in the company of a band of self-appointed doers of good. But it's the only way. I'm going to need their help as much as they need mine. Egos and all. I'll just fix every one of my dragon stares whenever they tread on my toes. If it sorted out the Great Dragon of the Midlands, it will sort them out too. Maybe. Either that, or be one of the shortest quests in history. I'd better start packing. How many pairs of underwear do you need on a quest? These are not the sort of things that get written in the history books. Too down to earth, too mundane. Ugh, I think I might be needing all of them.
Situated boldly within the Valley of Peace is the notorious Moonshadow Falls, which sees land offering rich pickings of all manner of plant for any keen herbologist. The Merry Meadow opposite conceals a dark underworld burrowed within thick forest, where opportunities of loot, illegal weaponry and outlaw duels are the norm. Whilst Bellatrix Troy adores making her lotions and potions, teaching the young at the local herbology academy, it is within this underworld that Bellatrix became all that she is and could be. This is where she learned of her most recent quest, and, after bathing in the falls in preparation, she is now dressed and in her stables, packing for the journey and preparing her trusty companions.
Come along, Remus. Now is not the time to be dilly-dallying and chasing your tail. Oh, you'll feel better once you're with Maximus and we're actually packing, not simply thinking. I know you aren't a fan of these drafty miserable stables, but Maximus does not have the luxury of your kennel. Needs must. Now crack on, Pooch. Okay, Wolf. If you're lucky, there may just be a wee drop of the Twinkle Drops potion left to calm your nerves and get that fire in your belly roaring. And yes, we'll pack your favourite toy. Some kind of super non-fluffy killing weapon to contradict Remus's rather shy side. But first, we'll pack the things we really need. Right, now, where's that warhammer? There we are. Oops. Yeah, should have given that a bit of a wipe after last time. Nothing worse than congealed brain and a glint of eyeball. He wasn't so clever as to see us coming, though. Hey, Remus. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Shh. Stop whinnying, Maximus. There's a lot more to come yet. All the swords, basic but fun. The bludgeon, chain mace, crossbow, shields. Seriously, chums, you are the most loyal of companions that anyone could wish for, especially on the battlefield. But you cannot shield me from everything. We learnt that the hard way. 'Twas a lesson too. They were the days. We'd have known then that we'd ever find ourselves here, preparing for this of all things. Thank the great Lord that old Rumpel found himself in need of a little Bellatrix pick-me-up to get his cauldron bubbling. So desperate he was that he had that young misguided elf. Though, I'm sure he's part orc. Got to be, with that stench and appalling lack of basic education, let alone understanding of the forest and Mother Nature. He should leave well alone and let me stick to teaching herbs and potions. I'm still not convinced it was not the concoction that sent old Rumpel up in flames of rage over passion, as per his request. I have never known a potion of mine even steer slightly off course, let alone literally send someone up in smoke. Bloody elves. I know, I should be grateful, for it had not been for that incident, we would not know of today and what promises to be a good one. Oh, I love playtime. It's my favourite part of the school day too, though for possibly slightly different reasons. Wouldn't have my little rascals chasing dragons, capturing princesses and bludgeoning all to death just because they can. Not yet, anyway, Remus. I have got my eye on a couple of potentials, though, and I know you have too. Right then, my lovelies, I think that's us packed, set and pretty much ready to set about getting ourselves some bounty. It's been too long. That scar of mine is teasing me with a burning and prickling, and you know what that means. This could get hot. She's worth the wait and the hunt, this one. I can sense it with every ounce of my being. There you are. How could I forget you? We'd be doomed before we started without you. With you, Maximus and Remus, failure shall remain a strange unknown to us.
Excitedly, Bellatrix grabs the necklace hanging from the stable door and rubs the trinket charm, housing the ashes of her beloved and their children, placing it next to her heart. She climbs onto Maximus, Remus by their side, and, with a controlled and mighty kick, she gallops across the moor in pursuit of what is to come. Meanwhile, Fleetfoot Lightfinger has bid his mother farewell and led Errol, his faithful yet somewhat stubborn mule, to the local tavern known as the Dragon's Tail for a pint and a game of cards. Sue, the innkeeper, scowls at him over the bar with a look that says quite clearly that another extension to his line of credit will only be countenanced if he is to pay off some of his existing debt. Having returned from a lucrative scam only a few days before, Fleetfoot makes a pretense of firtling desperately in his coin pouch before extracting a gold piece from the innkeeper's own ear. The innkeeper's scowl softens.
So, what's news hereabouts?
Well, matter of fact, there was a guy in here asking for a sneaky little bugger who don't mind a bit of danger for the chance of cash. So I took a message.
You get the jug, we'll go in the snug.
Front! You're on front!
So, who was this guy then?
She looked a bit, goatish. Her feet clopped over the floorboards. Then she ordered a flagon of ancient and dubious ale, necked it in one and proceeded to business. There's an important elven lord about 20 leagues west of here.
Oh, she'll be a fawn then. One of Melchior's. I don't trust him. Power mad he is. Bloody Carolans. Always acting like they're the god's own gift. Jewellery, traps.
He's putting a crew together.
What's he want a crew for?
The usual channels say that he's an elf with problems and he wants some competent people to solve them. He's looking for magicals, hunters, oddballs and sneaks.
Thanks. What's his problems?
The unusual channels are saying some spooky stuff, but I don't credit it. Fire has been mentioned. Somebody's cursed him. Burning was mentioned. And agony.
No wonder he wants a crew. If somebody's after him, I want to know whom. Hedge my bets.
No clue on who. Let's think.
Pipeweed?
Have a fill of mine.
Could it be the other elves?
Oh, the drones.
Don't even mention them. They get a bit tetchy. And they don't exist anyway.
Well, of course they don't.
I nicked a jewel off Melchior a couple of weeks ago. Mum said it didn't go with the wallpaper, so I sold it.
The fawn asked for you by name.
Oh, bugger. I saw the fawns. I didn't think they saw me.
Maybe they didn't. She spoke as if she was repeating a message, like as under a spell.
Magicked?
How would I know? What you going to do?
I'm going to think and sleep. Thanks for your kind offer of a stable loft. We have much to discuss.
I'm not discussing anything with you in a stable loft. Especially if Errol's listening.
Errol and I have things to discuss. Much as I esteem your wisdom and counsel, a hairy problem needs a mule to talk it over with.
Well, the stable's warm and cosy with a slight tangy scent of equine flatulence. Make yourself at home.
At the beginning of her journey, Riken could finally appreciate the sounds of nature surrounding the trail. Now the sounds of seagulls and squidhawks has eroded into nothingness. She and her faithful companions have been on the trail for a few leagues and are currently bordered by thick woodland. Always expecting something interesting to happen, she doesn't expect it to happen quite so close to home.
Boy, see if you can take girl and get us some scrum. Food, boy. What's that human up to now? Them pesky goblins bothering folk again. They clearly didn't listen last time we met. Oi! What have I told you to?
Lead the dwarf again, Dirk.
It's minus beast. Ignore her, Unc. Go about your day, dwarf. This doesn't concern you. It's between us and the soft skin.
Get off me, you oafs! Unhand my person this instant!
Oh, blimey. She's calling her animal back.
Don't move, Dirk. Stay absolutely frozen. Don't look like he heard her.
Ha! Nice try, dwarf. Maybe you should have left that ugly beast in that squalor you call home.
Dirk.
Shush now. I'm enjoying this. What are you doing blowing on my neck?
That's not me, Dirk.
There. That's a good boy. We wasn't going to hurt her. We were just picking up a bag that she dropped. Here you go, madam. You dropped your bag. Come on, Unc. Let's get out of here.
Leaving so soon, boys? Things were just about to get interesting.
Next time, dwarf, that beast won't always be around to protect you.
Leave them be, boy. They look a bit too gristly for my liking. Back to hunting, pup. You okay, missy?
Yes, thank you awfully for coming to my aid. The name's Thornheart. Prunella Thornheart.
Aye, missy, it is. Riken be mine.
Yes, indeed.
So, missy, what's with the tail in me?
Tailing? Oh, crikey, no. I'm heading to the Great Hall in Castle Elvengard.
You too? I mean, really? What's that for?
Come now, Riken. I know a fellow hunter when I see one.
Aye, you got me. Well, our journey won't be plain sailing. You can tag along with us if it suits.
Suit it does. Thank you. And your companion. A boy, is it? What an unusual and beautiful creature.
He is. One of a kind. Here he is back already. Well done, boy. That's a juicy looking rabbit you got us. You hungry, missy?
Wouldn't you know it? I've not long eaten. Thank you kindly, though.
Suit you, sen.
Relieved to have successfully crossed Willing Folk Covert with their lives intact, Sir Gasper and Ewayne's nerves are as battered and scarred as the hooves of their horses. Thankfully, to save mutual embarrassment, The pounding of the relentless wind can be blamed for their breathlessness. The new landscape offers a welcome focus, and with it, the opportunity to settle both nerves and pounding hearts.
By my blade, the gods are blowing hard today.
Some might say it's windy.
What was that, Uwain?
Look, sir, we're almost to Elvengard.
Ah, yes. It's been many a long year since I last passed through the great city. She still gleams as a radiant jewel, unchanged throughout the centuries.
What the? Damn rubbish! Wait. What's this? Wanted, experienced sellswords and bounty hunters. 10,000 guilders reward. No need to tell him about the money. I could claim it all myself. Should do the trick. Sir Gasper, look at this. A royal missive. More than a little intriguing, wouldn't you say?
Indeed. It bears the seal of the House of Carolon, so it must be of some great importance. Hold a moment. Part of the parchment is missing.
True, but that doesn't really matter now, does it?
I smell a plot here. Normally you are invariably against anything remotely dangerous. Why this sudden change of heart?
Would you rather I hadn't shown you this?
Bah! Curse my raging curiosity. Sure enough, we shall investigate, but I know you're up to some trickery. Nobody plays Gaspar Bellies for the fool.
After the difficulties of the desiccated valleys and sodden hills, our travellers are cheered to see the towers of Elvengard Castle. High they are, lit with eldritch glow, illuminate the villages below, as the poet and traveller Iambus of Cephopolis memorably wrote. Slurm and Drang, the outlying villages of Elvengard, are renowned for their iniquity, trading with people that go to and from the great city. Spells they sell, and charms, and philters, magic swords and dragon-proof armour. Even the wise may fall victim to their wily market traders and shameless hussies. Sir Gasper and Uwain enter the castle and find themselves in one of the cavernous antechambers.
A moment, sirs. I'll have to check with my master before allowing you passage.
Very well, we can wait.
Are all the servants fawns?
Elves are too haughty a people to serve. Long ago they conquered the land of Colignora. Since then the fawns have acted as servants to their elven masters.
This way, sirs, if you please. Would you be so good as to wait here with the others until His Highness arrives?
Damnation! Just look at all this lot.
A veritable gaggle of rogues and outcasts. Still, we should have expected no less, as the missive was sent out by royal authority and is no doubt in wide circulation. No matter. A little competition won't impede us.
I know, it's just...
Yes?
It's just that maybe we shouldn't be so dismissive of the competition. We should scout them out to gauge what we're up against. What do you reckon, sir? Sir?
That odour, can you smell it?
Smell what? The food?
Bailment.
Pardon?
A rare and inedible plant to most creatures, but it is particularly favoured by dragons for its smell.
Its smell?
Apparently, they use it to mark their territory. It is often used by dragon whisperers, the misguided fools. It seems to be emanated from that specimen over there.
Well, I'll leave him to it, I suppose. See what I can find out myself.
A strange and intriguing mix of bounty hunters, a knight-errant, a pickpocket and a dragon whisperer now find themselves in Elvengard Castle, awaiting further instruction. As they wander around the antechamber, they survey their surroundings, suspiciously eyeing their new companions up and down. Suddenly, a large, heavy door slowly swings open and, one by one, each are summoned into the great hall, ready for the next step in their adventure to begin.
Smoke and Mirrors was written by Kai Bailey, John Bell, Michael Hill, Lee Johnson, Rory King, Kerry Richardson and Joe Simmons, with additional material and contributions from Audrey Cook and Daryl Walton. It featured the following performers in order of appearance: Martin Tyrrell as the narrator, John Bell as Fleetfoot Lightfinger, Colette Buchanan Gray as Maisie Goodbright, Rachel Rowett as Sybil Soothsayer, Michael Hill as Ewain, Rob Calaby as Sir Gaspar Balliol, Amber Sinclair as Prunella Thornhart, Jill Burns as Rykin, Aaron Pettican as Elton Lawald, and Joe Warwick as Bellatrix Troy. Other roles were played by members of the cast. The programme was recorded and edited by Colette Buchanan Gray and directed by Kai Bailey. This production was presented by the Lincolnshire Move project, which is funded by the European Social Fund and the National Lottery Community Fund.